This is the new Giant Defy Advanced 2 road bike for the 2024 season. And in this episode, I will give you the buyer's guide for this bike, and also I will make a comparison between this bike and the Canyon Endurace CF7 Di2 road bike. So, hello friends, and welcome to another episode of Cycling Insider. So, as I was saying, the latest, greatest Giant Defy Advanced 2 road bike with a retail price of 3,000 US dollars or approximately 2,900 euros. So let's first answer the question, who is this bike for? So you see, Giant Defy is an absolute legend when it comes to endurance road bikes. So if you are in the market for the bike with a bit more relaxed geometry, you want to spend long days in the saddle and you want to feel, comfortable and relaxed, then definitely you should consider Giant Defy Advanced 2 road bike. Also, in this iteration of the Giant Defy bike, they've worked a little bit on the more, aerodynamically optimized frame and the fork, and a bit again on the carbon layout to make it even more comfortable than the previous generations. Okay, as I said, considering the retail price of 3,000 US dollars, at least you have two paint schemes to choose from. One is this so-called Tiger Red paint scheme. It looks beautiful, like a hint of metallic dark red with a hint of kind of black, and also you have this bay leaf paint scheme, which is a beautiful, almost on the side of the metallic silver with a hint of gold, I would call it, or kind of a champagne paint scheme. Again, I'm really glad here that Giant is offering two paint schemes on this bike because, again, retail price is 3,000 US dollars. Okay, let's dive into the specifications of this bike and really see what do you get for the hard-earned money. So we are starting with the frame and the fork on this bike. So the frame is the carbon fiber frame from Giant, but this is their advanced level carbon fiber frame. Also, the fork is the advanced grade carbon fiber fork. I have to mention here that this advanced grade carbon fiber is the lowest level, the third tier of the carbon fiber frames that Giant makes. So above this, you have the advanced pro level, and then you also have the advanced SL level. So this frame comes with the press fit bottom bracket, Shimano's press fit bottom bracket, 12mm through axles front and the back, and you also have a flat mount disc brakes. And I will immediately mention here that one of the things that I'm really glad that Giant did on this iteration of the bike is that the cables that are running in the front of the bike, so for example for the hydraulic disc brakes, cables that are running for the shifters, everything is kind of partially internally routed. So basically the cables are running at the bottom of the handlebar and at the bottom of the stem, and then they go through the head tube, down tube, and all the peripheral parts of the bike. But I'm really glad that they didn't drag all these cables through the handlebar or through the stem, so at least you have some space here, or your mechanic has a bit more space to work if any cables or any hydraulic disc brakes need replacing. So that's a nice addition. It's not like fully, totally internally routed through the bike. Okay, so as I was saying, the third tier of the carbon fiber frame and the fork, and also remember here that the carbon fiber frames from Giant come with a lifetime warranty. Listen, I have no special complaints here. Giant has a huge experience in making carbon fiber frames and forks, so in my book, this is perfectly fine. Now let's look at the handlebar and the stem. So the handlebar is the Giant Contact SLD fuse. So this is an aluminum handlebar. And also the stem, Giant Contact Aero stem, again, aluminum stem. These pieces are separate pieces, so there is nothing proprietary here. And I'll just mention that it's very good, in my opinion, that they are keeping it as a separate pieces. So even in the future, if you want to upgrade certain part, it's going to be very easy. And also, if you want to adjust the position on the bike, it's going to be much easier with these kind of non-proprietary handlebars and the stem. And also, since these pieces are aluminum, I wouldn't be so worried about it. It's perfectly fine in my book. Saddle and the seat post. Saddle again from Giant Approach saddle. Since saddles are always a personal preference, well, you might like this saddle. If not, very easy to replace with your desired saddle. And a good thing here is that the seat post is the Giant D-Fuse carbon fiber seat post. So basically this D-Fuse seat post has a bit of a kind of D-shaped seat post, and these seat posts are very good in soaking up some of the smaller road bumps. Now let's look at the group set on the bike. Definitely one of the secret sauces of this bike. So we are having here the Shimano's 105 mechanical group set. So this is the latest 12-speed group set from Shimano. So shifters, front mech and the rear mech, everything Shimano's 105 12-speed group set. While we are here, I would just mention that the cassette is also Shimano 105 1136 cassette paired with the KMC X12 chain. Okay, so they have a bit deviated here from the Shimano chain. I wouldn't be so worried. KMC X12 chain, perfectly fine. In the future, if you are replacing the chain, of course, you can have a look at the Shimano's, 12-speed compatible chains from is it the road bikes kind of lineup, or even from the mountain bike Shimano's world. Crankset, they are using here the Shimano's RS520 crankset, so they have downgraded a little bit from the Shimano 105 crankset, and this crankset is 50-34 chain rings. So you almost have here, the 1-to-1 gear ratio. You basically have an even kind of a very good combination, in my opinion, with this 1136 cassette. So you will definitely climb any big mountains, and you won't have any problems in attacking any long trips. Of course, they had to kind of cut corners somewhere, so this crankset RS520 definitely a little bit below the newest Shimano 105 crankset. Bottom bracket, as I was saying, press fit bottom bracket from Shimano. I'm not expecting any creaking noises because Giant has a huge experience in making quality carbon fiber frames. Now let's look at the wheel set on this bike. And again, a bit of, they had to, cut corners somewhere. So this wheel set is the Giant PR2 disc wheel set. Front and the back, 12mm through axles. This is the classical aluminum wheel set from Giant with the Sapim spokes, and also some kind of Giant, I'm guessing, sealed cartridge bearing hubs. Listen, nothing special with this wheel set here. Classical aluminum wheel set, probably total weight around 1,900, 2,000 grams. So it's a good kind of proposition for the future. If you want to upgrade the wheel set, this is definitely a good area to think about and upgrade. I always like to say, if you are in the market for a new wheel set, at least have a look at DT Swiss wheels and then decide if the price is good for you. The tires on this bike, a Giant Gavia Fondo tire, a tubeless tire, 32mm 30C tire, measuring 33.5 millimeters, absolutely excellent, and I hope that this wheel set and the tires come tubeless ready immediately from the factory. If not, again, you will need to get yourself a tubeless tape, the sealant, tubeless valves, and then turn the wheel set into a tubeless wheel set. Also, as I see here, this new iteration of the Giant Defy also has the fender mounts, which is absolutely great. You will get the water bottle cages, and as I'm seeing now, it is the tubeless prepared wheel set, which is absolutely excellent. And the maximum tire size you can use is 38 millimeters front and the back. Giant isn't giving us the proper weight of this bike here, but what I am expecting in some kind of size medium large, I would expect this bike to be about 8.2 kilograms out of the box. Then when you add pedals on top of it, you can easily calculate about, I would say, 8.5 kilograms for this Giant Defy Advanced 2. This is perfectly fine bike weight. It is in line with other competitors. And basically speaking about another competitor, as I was saying, I'm comparing this bike with the Canyon Endurace CF7 Di2 road bike, which has a retail price of $2,700 US. So this Canyon Endurace CF is also the third tier, the lowest tier of the carbon fiber frame and the fork that Canyon can do. So it is definitely a fair comparison. And as you see, starting immediately, the Canyon is $300 US cheaper. But what is more astonishing for me is that with this Canyon bike, Again, you are getting the perfectly fine carbon fiber frame and fork from Canyon, their CF level carbon fiber frame and fork, but here you are getting a full Shimano 105 electronic group set. So shifters, front mech, rear mech, crankset, cassette, chain, absolutely stunning that you are getting a full electronic group set for $2,700 US. And also the wheel set here is the Fulcrum Racing 900 wheel set, again classical aluminum wheel set, and the brakes are from the Shimano 105 hydraulic disc brakes. I forgot to mention with the Giant, you are not getting a full Shimano 105 hydraulic disc brakes because the braking rotors are the Giant's own MPH braking rotors. Okay, 160 millimeters front and the back, which is totally fine. But again, compared with this Canyon, it is definitely a downgrade. And also, smaller parts on the Canyon, aluminum stem, aluminum handlebar, carbon fiber seat post, everything is kind of standard as the other pieces on the Giant. But the huge shock for me is that at $2,700 you can get a full electronic Shimano's 105 group set on this Canyon, while the Giant Defy Advanced 2 is only offering you a mechanical Shimano 105 group set. So I have to say in this case, it's very straightforward. This Giant Defy Advanced 2 at $3,000 is just way, way too expensive. I really don't understand why it's so expensive. In my opinion, this type of the bike should be definitely below $2,500 because again, if you consider the Canyon Endurace CF7 Di2 at $2,700, it's definitely the way to go with this Canyon Endurace bike. So I hope Giant will somehow drop the price on this Defy Advanced 2, because as it is now at $3,000, it's just too expensive. Okay, so this is going to be it for today. I hope you like what I'm doing. If you do, keep on watching, keep on liking, and as always, I will see you soon in the next episode. Cheers.